All righty, greetings class. Here we are, already week 3. We are trekking along halfway there. So keep up the pedal to the metal. Not time to slow down. Double check everything this far. This is a great point to kind of review where you're at. Double check your weeks 1 and 2. Make sure, I know you probably just have submitted your week 2, which I am working on grading. But just go back and double check everything, right? Your quizzes are knocked out, your discussion forums, you've maxed out your points, replied to classmates in the discussion. And yeah, that puts us at week 3 and powering ahead. Any questions or issues regarding, Rob, did you have any questions in regards to week 2? No? All right, cool. Let us hop on in. As I was mentioning to Rob earlier, this is yet again another week of a lot of technical jargon. We're hopping into hardware this week, or software, or a combination of the two. Remember, tech operations, especially the way the world is advancing. This is something that it is important, right? I was having a conversation with a student recently. And they were mentioning that their technology skills were not that strong, right? Computer skills, tech skills, et cetera, et cetera. So something to be thoughtful of and mindful of is if you plan to, depending upon what your trajectory and career goals are, you might find yourself that you do need to have knowledge of this. Maybe you do not need to be proficient in this, but you need to be knowledgeable of it so that you can either hire somebody to do that position or that component of the job for you, or that if you're in meetings, you do understand and have a basic foundation of understanding of what needs are for the establishment that you're working for. If you want to have your own place, whether it's a food truck, catering business, private chefing, ghost kitchen, freestanding restaurant, whatever the case, fine dining restaurant, whatever the case might be, you're gonna need to know this information, okay? If you want to have a place yourself is what I'm talking about, right? Because you're gonna need to know what those basics are for infrastructure. Think about longevity. I'm reading a lot of articles right now about how do we catch Gen Z, right? What are their trends? So tapping into different generations, right? And even understanding that more, they are going to be most likely wanting ease of transactions, everything coming on their phone, right? It's a different world. I personally, and I maybe Rob and other reviews out there might feel the same way. How do you feel about QR codes for menus? Okay, that was launched during, QR codes had existed way before the pandemic, okay? But when the pandemic hit, it was a great way to transfer menus contactless, right? So we didn't have touching of those menus. People didn't want to touch menus, and it made it a heck of a lot easier. Now that the pandemic is over, right, for the most part, restaurants are open, everything's back in full swing. Most restaurants have maintained the QR code. Some have reintegrated menus, hard menus, whether they're plastic encased or a paper sheet that's printed, when the menu changes, or a wide set of other options for menus, right? Some places just don't have it. I don't like it. I want to go to a restaurant. I want to have a menu in my hand. I want to look through. I don't even want my cell phone when I'm dining. Like, I don't want it near me. I don't want to be stuck on this. The screen's small. It's annoying for me, but I'm in maybe a different boat than most people. Other people that love that it's on their phone. Okay. They can, especially think about if it's a joint you frequently visit. You're looking up at that menu. You already have it downloaded. Boom, boom, boom. Right. Ease of access. But these are, again, things of, that you want to consider. How are people are going to be ordering? What type of data can you store on them? Okay, this person is constantly ordering the Caesar salad and it's always ordering, with the grilled chicken and or grilled shrimp, right? And you start to take notes. Okay, you're collecting data. Maybe you start to offer incentives for that and see that there's a trend that a lot of people are buying salads. Well, let's get them to buy, let's get them interested in buying more or add-ons, right? So add-ons or purchasing more is always a great push from a restaurant perspective, right? Okay, these people are always ordering the salad. What could maybe we could offer like a free soup at some point, and maybe they're going to taste that soup and then they're going to start to order that the next time, right? So you see how this can kind of explore to more growth, potential, more growth in sales. Let's get back to that. Saw you had a question, and hey, fantastic. Congratulations. Nice job. High marks. Very good. We've got, food protection, food safety manager certificates. Also, these are great credentials and credentials that you'll need, right? In the workforce. Now let us hop on into the infamous slides here. I am going to do a quick review on article. It's the only way we got with this. Can you imagine? I can't pull this from, this is not the normal, flow for me here. Rob. I do want to go through the assignments first, and then we'll go back into the material. So that way, I just find that seems to work a little bit better. These assignments for this week are a little bit different, but I think a bit more interesting. So let me pull up a discussion forum first, and then we'll go into the assignment. All righty. So discussion forum. So this is going to be a personal computer ranking system, okay? This is not a huge discussion forum. You need 3 to 5 sentences of an explanation to respond to the prompt, okay? And here we go. You intend to purchase a personal computer to help with your studies, okay? You've decided to create a weighted ranking table to help you choose a suitable system, all right? So what criteria should be used for selection, and how should each item be weighted? All right. So think about how we evaluated, point of sale system, right? You want to think about price. You want to think about user friendliness, right? How user friendly is it? Can you integrate it with all types of applications? There's always the old big debate. Are you Apple, Macintosh, or PC, right? They have different functionalities. They have different types of protection systems and security systems. Not all apps integrate in both of them. That you can't communicate all the time in the same form that they do, right? So when you get an Mac Apple, you have their programs as opposed to other programs, okay? So you want to assess that. Now, when you're also thinking about your personal computer, right? Maybe you don't even care about Apple Macintosh because the price, it makes it a ridiculous investment, right? Now, there are some people who are like, the price makes it what it is because I get X, Y, and Z. But so we're disregarding that. Let's talk about something else. Let's talk about, are you going to be using this for, you're going to be, it's a laptop, it's a personal computer. Are you going to be, do you care about the screen size? Do you care about the keyboard size? How much RAM is there? Memory, right? Your hardware and software capabilities, right? This is what we're going to be talking about as well. Because just because you buy it for your studies, aren't you going to be using that later on? Most likely. Can that grow with you? All right. So think about those same things that we kind of talked about, POS systems, evaluate that, what criteria needs to be weighted. All right. Again, different things. If you were a gamer, you need a completely different type of computer, right? PC. If you were maybe doing more videos, you might want something with a better video that's built in, and a better camera and a better mic setup that's built in. So these are things that you would want to assess. Yeah. There are definitely ways that you can check for all different options out there. That's always the best. You want to The thing is, though, you always want to make sure you're doing your own research first before somebody convinces you to buy something, right? People want to sell. So you have to do your own research. So this is great. I mean, this is literally what's going to happen. Not just in hardware or software, but once you put those feelers out there, say you're opening up your restaurant. Oh, I'm interested in having this. Guess what? People are going to start coming. Oh, this is what services I offer. This is what I offer, right? And you got to sit there and do your comparing and contrasting and figure out what is the best. All right. So that's your discussion for this week. I think it's kind of a cool one. And it'll show you where you put your values on how you should be, where where are you, how and what are you weighting? Okay. Next up, your assignment for this week. So you have to read chapters 3 and 11 in your textbook. When we go into your textbook here, add it up. Yeah. All right. I always like to do just use the search button to find stuff, and you can hop right into the case study here. The case study is on the assignment page as well. However, you're going to need to read the other information to have to be able to back this up. All right, and have pull use from it. Okay. So you're going to need to read chapter 3 before getting into this, so you have the backup of understanding it. So what we're talking about here, this is a digital privacy assignment. Again, digital privacy. You've probably all heard that term thrown around in the news over the past, X number of years. Or how many times have we seen, like announcement? This was a big thing. I don't know if it still exists, but on Facebook, it was like, hey, make sure you do this, this, and that to protect your photos, right? You've got to change your privacy settings. Who can see who has access, who can see it? Digital privacy is huge. What about digital privacy when your information gets sold, right? These have also been huge conversations, right? People want, there's a lot of value, right, in what you're doing online. It shows where your interests are. It shows what your tendencies are. It can show where what you're looking to buy, and then potentially make profit off of that. So there's that. People do buy and sell digital information, right? So digital privacy is kind of a big topic here. And where we go, right? The US is like the Wild West for personal data. All right. Again, we talk about information gathered by companies, most prominently Google and Facebook, trades at lightning speed on advertising markets that most users do not even know exist. Right. So I'm not going to sit here and read all of this to you because that's pretty boring. What you need to do is take a look at the rest of this case study, okay? Read through it. Again, like I said, it's right here in your textbook as well. This is going to help you answer everything. So now, what are the potential benefits and problems with the use of personal data by internet companies, okay? And now I want you to also think about, some companies is that an internet company? Is that a tech company? Is it, there are a lot of higher reaching companies that have tendrils reaching down to many other smaller segments. So it's always important to think about what you're working for, where you're working for. What if you were working for, just think about this, kind of interesting. What if you were working for Google or Facebook or Twitter or whatever at one of their cafeterias as a chef or a cook or a line cook, right? Or a kitchen manager? What do you feel about that? What do you think, right? Do you think, are they going to have extra access? Do we think this is important? Do they might modify or have different access to information that you have provided for them, or something to question? Okay. Now, so think of your own food service operation that you currently work for, or if you don't, or would like to be in the future. Okay. What are some pieces of data about your customers that you would consider valuable to your company? So what's valuable about our customers? What do we want to know about our customers? Do we want to know what their favorite color is? Probably not, doesn't matter. But we do want to know when they're coming in. And maybe if we see a pattern that they're only coming on Saturdays, how can we incentivize them to come in on a weekday? Right? Do you want to know where else they buy food at? You want to know your competitors? What is going to be important for you? What's going to help you with that knowledge? Okay. And how would you go about ensuring that this data is secure? Right? Security breaches. We talked about last class, who has access to this information, right? What level of manager? Does a server need to know the address of somebody? No, right? But maybe the main system does to send out that happy birthday card, right? And that free milkshake for happy birthday, come in and get one free, right? So think about what you want to know. Do you want to know your customer's birthday? You want to know where they live? Do you want to know their tendencies? Think about what's important, what's not important, okay? Do you want to know where else they eat? Do you want to know what else they are looking for? Do you want to know what flavors they're interested in? Probably, right? Do they want to see, are there health trends that they're interested in? Gluten-free or XYZ, this, that, and the other, right? So this is what you want to do. All right. Make sure that you're answering everything in complete sentences. List at least 3 to 5 again about what you want to use. And let us hop on into good old hardware. All right. So we're going to hop into this. You already know the deal here. Knockout, work, lock, and load. We don't need to cover learning objectives because we're going to cover those. All right. So let us hop on in. Oh, wait, before I go in, Rob, did you have any questions or feeling good about the assignments? All right, cool, solid. Let us roll in. So hardware, you gotta love the vintage computer system here, right? Is that a floppy disk I see? Looks like it. That one might not be a floppy. I think the floppy this looks like it, since a little bit more advanced. There's even a CD a CD drive there. But yeah, right? So computer system consists of a number of interrelated components, right? They work together. Took me a long time to understand that too, right? Who the heck knew? What's the modem? What's the screen? What's the hard drive? What is that, right? So they are all working together and with the aim of converting data into information. That's it, right? In a computer-based information system, or BIS, right? Processing is carried out electronically, all right, with little to no intervention from a human user, all right? It's basically all automated, all right? We talk a lot about automation in warehouses, right? Technology of flow. This is just automated. It happens. It's seamless, okay? So hardware is the physical components of a computer system, all right? So this would be input devices, memory, right? Your central processing unit, a CPU, all right? Output devices, and then storage devices, right? Where you're storing external information, okay? So again, you've got input. You've probably seen this, if you're ever thinking like, wow, again, these words are like crazy. Break it down to something simple. Maybe you've looked at a TV. Maybe you don't have a lot of experience with the computer, right? But think about the TV, right? And you usually have an input and an output, right? Those same plugs on your TV, or perhaps on your boom box, right? Or your stereo, right? You've got your input devices, all right? So keyboard, mouse, mic, phone. Then you've got your output devices here, your printer, screen, etc. And then storage devices, which we know. You've got storing to the cloud, storing to the cloud. Where is that stuff? Who knows? You can do that on an external USB hard drive, a USB drive. You can store it to a memory bank. You can do backups. That's the other thing. You should always make sure that you have a full backup of your computer, because sometimes things happen. If you have external backup, everything is loaded there and you're set in case anything happens to the main computer. And then of course, CDs and different types of discs like that. So we got your primary memory and your secondary memory. Let's get this a little bit easier to see. So the computer memory is accessible by the CPU, all right, comprised of DRAM, all right, that's the actual working space to the processor, holds the data instructions that the processor uses. So that's where all the information is kind of stored, and then it goes out. So just like a network, okay, and that's where the main memory, where the data information are stored temporarily, okay. It's accessed by the processing unit. Again, computer processing unit, CPU, okay? This is where we get into this volatile memory data, okay? Meaning it cannot be retained in case of a power failure. If it goes out, memory's gone, okay? Memory stored in the semiconductor chips, okay? Which are, you know, the least of your cost when we're looking at computer programs and things like that. So it can be stored into cache memory or random access memory, which is your RAM. Okay. It, again, relatively faster. Your primary is faster than secondary memory because it has that volatile nature, meaning secondary memory is going to be stored back there. So if there's the power failure, it's going to be there, right? But with primary memory, that's gone. But that's why it's so fast, okay? It only holds the data information that's currently being used by the CPU. All right, next up, right, we've got that secondary memory. This is the secondary memory, first get transferred to the primary and then accessed by the processor, okay? So the processor, the main unit, does not come and have direct contact with that secondary. It has to go to the primary before getting released into the primary memory of the processor access. All right. This again is where data is stored permanently. External memory cannot be accessed directly by the processor. Again, intermediary is the primary memory, and non-volatile. So it's going to be there even if a power failure does happen. All right. It's stored in external storage devices, which are hard drives, flash drives, and other permanent storage devices like CDs, DVDs, floppy disk, HDD. They're a bit slower than the primary. Again, it's backup. All right. It is a backup. It's like your generator when the power fails. All right. But it also can hold a heck of a lot more data, right? Remember that primary is what's in use. It holds data information that's currently being used. This is storing huge amounts of data that's from gigabytes to, you know, beyond. All right. This is the backup. All right. So that's like a huge backup warehouse, while the primary is what is currently in use and circulating. All right. So your CPU, your central processing unit, would consist of your control unit, right? This goes and looks for instructions from the software and the memory, decodes them, and then makes it happen, executes them, right? And the control unit controls the operation of the hardware, all right? So this is what we're looking here. This is the back, you know, and if you are a computer whiz and you're familiar with all these little things, I commend you and say, hey, well done, because this is pretty intense for somebody who doesn't know anything about computers or what hard drive or processors or CPUs look like, right? But fear not, remember class, it's just the same as if like you're approaching a new type of recipe or spices you've never used. It's not the same. It's not a one-to-one, but again, starting to dabble your feet, tasting that spice, getting a look at this visual, understanding some general terminology gets you to the place that you're going to need to be eventually, where you're going to recognize that spice without being by the note of it, as opposed to be confused. And you're going to, oh yeah, I know that's a CPU, a central processing unit, or I've got it, you know, my ALU, right, which is carrying out mathematical computations. All right, next we move into the software. So series of detailed instructions that control the operation of the actual computer system, all right, based on the actions of the user. The operating systems interact with the hardware of the system, okay, at the computer at a very low level, okay, so that you to manage and direct the computer's resources, all right. So when you look at this here, right, when we're looking at your system software and application software, right, and your hardware, we've got that CPU, your disk, your mouse, printer, software, utilities in your OS. I'm sure you've seen that OS, AIOS, operating system, right? And then application software, computer games, spreadsheets, word processors, databases, internet browsers, all things minus the computer games that you need at work, right? Although this could be a good distraction for 5 minutes here or there if you need it. But that's the application software, right? You're going to be working, guess what? Inventory, spreadsheets, word processors. Are you writing menus? Are you communicating at all with anybody? Word, you're going to need to use that. Internet browsers. Are you online? Of course, you're doing research, answering emails, databases, all of your data storage. All right. So next up, we've got those application software. All right. So that's a set of programs that allow the user to perform specific processing activities. All right. Whether that's, general purpose, okay, productivity software, or application specific software. All right. Both are going to be housed within there. Next up, your general purpose productivity software. All right. This is basically just your day-to-day common tasks that you're going to be utilizing. Okay. So again, email, internet, word processing, things like that, what we just talked about. You're not necessarily doing these other ones that you're not using as frequently. Okay. So these would be also that used in productivity software to reduce the time needed to complete routine administrative tasks, right? Again, we can put that in and we can say, hey, you're going to be able to, at the end of the day, right? Once we close down the computer, right? And the day and the shift, the software is going to be able to actually start processing the information. It's generating a report, right? It's going to take time to sift through all the data that transpired throughout the day to generate a report, but you're going to have settings in there and it's going to spit that out. All right. So again, these are office automation systems, and they can consist of 5 basic categories. Publishing systems, right? These are all electronic. Communication systems, meeting systems, and then image processing systems and office management systems as well. All righty. Next up, we've got application-specific software. This is where we get into the nitty-gritty, all right? What we were talking about, POS systems, right? Your enterprise resource planning, okay? What else is this? This is going to be a specific purpose to carry out information-designed processing tasks. Accounting systems, payroll, right? Can you imagine doing your payroll by hand? It was once done like that, but now we have automated systems to do it. All right. Some people are still doing a lot of their inventory by hand, but now that you have integration of different applications to integrate your point of sales and your inventory, it's incredible, right? You know how many, if recipes are being upheld, right, and you're inputting your recipe, then the computer knows that by the inventory that was there, there were 25 beef patties there, and 5 beef patties were sold. Automatically, it's already going to put in, hey, we're at 20. 20 isn't, once we hit level 20, we get an announcement. I get an email, hey, you're low on ground beef patties, time to order. Boom. Instead, alternative, I'm going in, closing down. All right, we sold last night, cross-check, double-check. Okay, we need to order. Now, not saying the computer's going to be perfect. What if there was a misfire? What if a patty fell on the ground, right? And it wasn't notated? Well, we might be lower in our par than that inventory is showing. So again, just like when we use spell check, we have to go in and double check it ourselves, right? There's that cross management as too, in case it's not as in depth, right? It wasn't noted. So this is what the benefits of those like accounting system, payroll system, inventory, integration systems. And then of course, customer resource management, huge ding, 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 right? Customers where we want to keep people happy, keep coming back. How do we get their attention and keep them, not even just keeping, you know, not necessarily even increasing their sales. How do we keep our customers? Right? What if they haven't been, you notice they haven't been back around? How do we offer an incentive for them to come in? Hey, we haven't seen you, haven't been around here. I'm sure you get discounts like that on your emails all the time. Hey, we see you haven't been active. Here's 10%. Come in and check out what we've got in our new spring collection, or whatever the heck they're offering, right? We've got some new pots and pans and we've got some new cool aprons, chef coats, whatever. So software, internet specific software. All right, this is huge. Okay. You can basically, internet specific software has changed how we market to our customers, point blank, how we even get new customers. All right. If you look at what TikTok and Instagram, specifically TikTok, has done for sales, because you've got videos of food and that's getting exposed to thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people potentially. And they're saying, wow, I want that. I want to go, when I go to this city, I want to try that. Right. You're just bringing it in. So this is how, you know, it allows and it facilitates organizations to carry out a lot of different business activities here. All right. Competitor research, right? Huge. You think Burger King and McDonald's and Wendy's and Five Guys and In-N-Out and Sonic and Hardee's aren't all out there doing competitive research? 100%. Product research, huge. Product research, what's trending, what's selling, what did somebody else launch, what flavors are trending, where are we? Are we adding, has truffle hit fast food yet? Certainly hit casual fast food. All right. What's next? What hot sauce? What chili? What flavor? Is it lychee? Is it bubble tea? What's coming in down the pipeline? Right. Customer support, of course, huge, especially when we're looking at apps with food delivery. Didn't get in. Who are we calling? Where's that customer support? Right. Advertising, promotion, e-commerce. Also even thinking about like marketing and selling, what the heck is it called? There's a slang term for it, but basically, you know, let's say you love Wahoo tacos, and Wahoo tacos, they have this really cool hat that says Wahoo on it, and it's got a fish jumping out of water in the back. And they're really great California Baja style tacos. And the hat's like, you know, bright turquoise and blue and really cool. So you can sell your, you know, your garb too. This is another factor of add-on sales, right? Or keychains or hats or t-shirts, right? Depending upon the theme of your restaurant, maybe that works. And of course, www is accessed by using the web browser. And this allows you to get all of your information super easy, right? These are specific software. Then, of course, your email, right? Transmission of a message over a communications network. You all know this by now. Entered via keyboard, from files stored on disk, programs, et cetera, and basically you can transmit documents, files, folders, links, et cetera, whatever you can, as long as it's within a certain storage size, or you need to compress that and you can send it along, right? So again, these are all very back-end working things, how the machines work. So software, this is really interesting. We've got open source and application service provider. So open source is software that's free of charge, okay? There's no limitations to how it can be used, modified, redistributed, et cetera, et cetera. It's kind of just like open source knowledge. Here you go. Here's software that you can use. And then you modify it, right? Usually it's a very backbone kind of skeletal format of open source. And then the specific people can make modifications to it. All right. Now, application specific service providers are providing software on rental basis. So you're charged a fee or per uses basis. And that's how that is utilized. So that can be your different types of apps, all right, that have costs associated with them. Now, system design, getting into the system design life cycle, all right. This is how we're going to work. You've got the input to the design. All right. Then from there's a better visual here that I think is going to be really helpful. I want to pull this up right now. Okay, this is not the one that I wanted, but this is also a really good visual here where we see the user, the application, the operating system into the hardware, back up through the operating and application. So it's cyclical. All right. So this one is a little bit different than that. So, and this is not the design we want, but basically what we're doing is the input design is the requirements from that analysis stage, right? And output from the design phase is design specific that's used by the programmers in the build phase. Okay. Again, some of this is really deep information that it's good to have your general knowledge of, but you know, or if you're working with the team specifically to build a specific app for niche needs of an establishment, then you're going to need to even know more than this. This is just a shallow introduction. Okay. They're usually used a top-down approach. Okay. The architecture of the system is designed first. So think again, that structural, the skeletal structure. And then that's used as a reference, okay, as the systems or the outline of the design going in, okay? And then those individual models are designed in the detailed design phase. Again, so skeleton, just kind of like how you would think about building a house or a restaurant, okay? Let's just like think about that skeletal of a restaurant, right? And you can think about this, sometimes it's hard to conceptualize something that is where you can't physically understand or see, at least for me. But if I think about this in the set of, if I had an open building, okay, a vacant building, well, where I have to start making a skeletal outline. All right, I think that what's going to work most for the flow is that, storage, right? Whether it's actual computer storage or it's, physical storage, your inventory, that's going to go here. Your walk-in cooler is going to be here. This is going to be the dish pit. This is going to be the line. Now we're looking at front of the house. I think the bar would be good here. We're going to need a waiters section here. And then bar tabletops and lounge area, plus some, freestanding tables, communal tables. And then the next stage would be, of course, then you're going to layer on top of that. All right, we're developing individual modules now. What is that design? What is the color? What is the aesthetic? Building, right? In the back of the house, what's the menu flow? What's this? So you just want to think about that kind of skeletal zone, right? That's the design phase. And then as you continue to build on, you're figuring out the missing pieces and building in those certain areas. Okay. So most modern information systems are designed using the client server architecture model, and processing is shared between the end users, clients, and the server. Okay. So this stores data and process queries. All right. All right. Aims of systems design. It's easy, right? Number one, always provides correct functions for end users. Rapid in retrieving and moving data. We don't want to be sitting around waiting for that. We live in a time when it's now. Reliability, security, and then it can integrate well with other systems. Is this the same thing we've been hearing for all of those? Yes, you have to be thinking about, will this integrate with other systems? Does this have room for growth? All right. Constraints of a system design. All right. Your hardware platform, the OS, your operating system, right? I'm sure maybe you've seen in the news, tons of discussions about, oh, well, Mac, Apple only allows certain apps on their phone. And you can't get that if you're an Android, vice versa. Right? So does the operating system work? Right? That can be a huge issue. Right? Your design tools, is it hard to navigate? Industry standards and your number of users, right? Even if you think about perhaps, I always noticed this when I was living in a city, big city, that certain peak hours, would get really slow on the internet, right? So thinking about, the number of users online at a given specific time, does that have a slowdown on the app? course it does, right? What can that app actually handle? What can the system handle? So flow of users and balance, what it can actually handle. All right, here we get into a little bit of more into the deeper of what you need for your assignment, for your discussion forum post. And this is where we're going into, right? We're talking about that personal computer. So you do need to read chapter 3. And here are a few other things to consider when buying a computer, right? We talked about this a bit, but always good to have a little bit more backup, right? First and foremost, everybody always thinks about this. Budget, right? What's your budget? Because that's going to put your first cap. Anything above this is out and everything below is in. All right. Laptop or desktop, right? Do you want mobility? Are you taking this on the go? Or do you want the cost? Desktops are often more affordable than laptops, right? Storage, though, you can be way bigger on a desktop. Your processor, all right? How fast? It's always about how fast is your processor, right? Now it is talking about that there's many factors in processor choice. I've just always been, it's really about how fast is your processor, what can it handle, all right? Then this is what it is. Intel making the best chaps, and their Core Duo range is the best, right? Specifically, and if you don't know, like, you can start looking at people's computers. I have a little detail on the bottom that says Intel Core. I know I'm using Intel Core. I'm not using Intel Core Duo, but I'm using Intel. Okay. So now your RAM, that computer RAM memory, you know that there's a big, you always see like, oh, wow, I can get an iPhone for cheap, or this phone, even though it's the newest one, it's so cheap. Well, what is it? It's because the memory is like barely there and it's not going to be able to hold it. That's why the cost is usually lower on some of those. So RAM has a huge impact on price of electronics. How much memory can it hold internally? Otherwise, you have to start either adding more memory, buying more memory, or figuring out how to transfer that out so your computer runs. Okay, you can't load a ton of things if you only have 4G, right? It's the most basic. 8 gigs, 8 GB is the sweet spot for most. But if you're a gamer, editor of videos or photography, you need more. Okay, or if you're doing any CAD or CAM work, you need a minimum of 16 gigabytes of RAM. All right. Oftentimes you'll see ones that, that have 32, but getting Windows Vista with a 64. All right. Hard drive. Again, this is where we're also talking about that 250, your storage to 750. Where to get free cloud storage? What does it cost per month? What does this give you? You can divide and distribute, right? Google gives you 15 gigabytes for free. And then about, $2 for 100 for monthly after that. So different prices. What are the graphics that comes with? Depending upon what you use, how much do you need that? Your computer software, big, huge, important, right? Latest Windows 10. This might be a little bit outdated. I think that we're on beyond that, but maybe I'm wrong. And then antivirus soft, like back in the day was McAfee. The Mac often has really high antivirus, and that's people why prefer it. And then, of course, what your internet connection is. But this will be in the slides, in the instructor announcement section. We did cover digital privacy as well. So any other questions? Otherwise, we'll call it a couple minutes early for this week because I dragged you guys out a little bit long that first week. So any questions? All righty. Well, then all we've got to do, buckle down. It's hardware and software storage time. Think about that RAM. Think about what you'd want in a computer. Think about those important things. Think about digital privacy. Think about what you need. Have fun. Stay safe, be well, and take care. Bye.